Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to showcase the build, the Essence Drain Contagion Occultist typical Chaos Dot build that I took as my league starter for 318 Sentinel League. We're currently level 93. I have done like literally all the content here, right? 150, 115. I unlocked all the favorite map slots. Some notes here. This is league day 4, so we are 4 days into league. This is the current state. I did buy a carry for the the feared encounter, but all the rest I did myself, and I think this build is absolutely massive. There is when you say like quickly pro and cons, pro definitely the clear speed. I think it's a bit too tanky for my taste, and yes, this sounds a bit ridiculous, but we are having here 90 max res, 90 all max res. We're having 75 chaos resistance. We are glancing block capped with 75 attack, and as soon as I cast something that you see over here, I'm also spell block capped, right? We are playing the Aegis Aurora, so we replenish 2% of our armor when we block. We currently run like a 23,000 armor just in hideout, and with flasks up, we're at 35,000. Then we are ailment immune with Purity of Elements. And we wear double blue rings with Viridis Veil. That means the monster damage hitting us is unlucky. Means a monster hits us and then the damage gets counted twice, basically. And whatever is the lower value of those two hits will get on our side, right? Then we are hexproof, so all the LA weakness, all the kind of curses do not exist for us, and we take no extra damage from critical strikes. That means maps like this with like that would be insanely deadly. Think about it: 316 crit strike chance, 44 crit multi, and so on. Does not affect us. We're crit immune, right? On top of that, we have another goodies that just complements our defense. And I think this build overall is a machine, is a tank, really, right? Other than the negative aspect, which is the damage that you can fix with a certain amount of currency. So Essence Drain Contagion is known to be like nowadays probably a decent league starter. It's not like top tier anymore like it used to in the past. And you always have like this damage issue. Like you can get like probably 2 million damage with like, I don't know, 20x investment or something. I could triple my DPS if I wouldn't invest that heavily into tankiness, basically, right? But going from like a 2 million DPS Essence Drain to like a 5-6 million Essence Drain, we talk about like maybe a 50 to 100 exalts. And if you want to go past that point, I had Essence Drain characters with over 10 million DPS, but they are more like worth a mirror plus, you know? So as of right now, I think this build has done exactly what I made it for, and I just enjoy the playstyle. I would say, before we talk more about the build, how I set it up together, we're gonna run a cemetery map here. We do have in my Atlas passive tree some Legion, Breach, Delirium kind of things set up. So we're just gonna run the map with I think that's pretty much it. Basically skip Nico, put in a Legion, and we go Breach, and that's pretty much it for that kind of juice. So you can see the kind of mapping showcase. I currently run, I think, like a 600,000-700,000 Essence Drain, which is pretty low. But I also have Glide on top, which is also like 500,000. You're gonna see that once we're gonna engage the bosses. Overall, very tanky, very good clear, and yeah, pretty much unkillable as long as we are not getting or suffering from any massive degen. So if I just put over here my defense tab, look at the amount of energy shield regen I have currently on like 3,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. Like as soon as Essence Drain is on a monster which stacks, we get a certain amount of energy shield regen based on how much damage we are dealing. And as you see, clearing wise, I mean, it's Essence Drain Contagion. You put down a Contagion, you throw in an Essence Drain, and everything else that is getting affected or is dying from it. And yeah, that's basically how this skill works. One Contagion, one Essence Drain, and it's like a self-spreading mechanic. And for single target, we do debuff our enemies with a Bane setup. And the Bane itself has only one purpose: to get 3 curses onto our target, which is basically Despair, which is Temp Chain, so our Essence Drain lasts longer, as well as our Blight debuffs, as well as Punishment. And Punishment is a rework kind of curse that where we deal a shit ton of more damage once the target reaches low life. So we have like some kind of execute phase, if you call it like that. So we go into a boss phase, we put our Despair on, now we are basically channeling our Blight, maybe put in a Val Blight. And we kind of procced Shaper? Does this still exist? I don't even know what it does. I don't even know what it does! Something, probably. So, back to the farming thing. Usually, once I want to use my Sentinels, the way I do it, I just gather like a shit ton of monsters. And this is like the risky, the deadly part, right? So let's just gather like a fuck ton of monsters. And we're gonna push our buttons. We just empower everything. Essence Drain, Contagion. We're gonna spam a couple Blights here and there just to get rid of like the big beefy monsters, you know, like magic monsters that have like a shit ton of life, basically based on the Sentinel empowerment and so on. But you see, it's absolutely no problem, and I can just recommend a build like that. I know Essence Drain Contagion, I think it's like 0.5% of the player base is currently playing that, so literally nobody. But I'm just a big fan of it. I think there is not really a skill that can keep up with Essence Drain as long as the, when it comes to clearing, as long as the mob density is packed enough. You're gonna see that in a little bit when we open the breach on how many monsters there are and how the clearing looks like, right? And now basically for improving this build, all that's pretty much left to do is, I would say, damage. I think I fixed all the tankiness parts. We have triple 90 all res, we have spell block, attack block capped with Aegis, we have like 30,000 armor, so we are kinda unkillable as long as, I said, there is an Essence Drain on the target, and the more damage we do, the more we're gonna regen on top of that. So here is the breach. Let's see how that looks like. It's a pretty bad spawn here, but I would always like to wait. It's still the same Essence Drain going on here, by the way. I'm usually always like to just wait, you know, and then just get one massive Contagion Essence Drain and just see the world explode, and then you just spam some Banes in the middle just to get this like extra damage on the rare pack. So this is a Chayula one. Maybe we get the boss as well. I don't know. Loot, loot, loot. Okay, we open the next one because it's fun, right? I tend to use the Sentinels on the breaches to empower the monsters, but there is just a tiny little problem that if you're not fast enough with killing the monsters, then the breach disappears as well as all the monsters that are buffed with it, right? Essence Drain Contagion is just such a lovely skill. It's, in my opinion, one of the best skill combination, even though it's like a very old kind of skill, I would say. Essence Drain Contagion exists since I started the game like many years ago, right? So, and it's still, I cannot just say negative things about it. The only thing that you can say is like damage is low, but this is something even with high investment you can fix, and trust me, you can even get like over 20 mil DPS on Chaos Dot builds nowadays. Even more if you actually focus on a Blight setup. So the way I played it in another league was like, I was getting some Gloves of the High Templar with like +7, put my Essence Drain in there with Empower for clearing, and here my Essence Drain already had like 7-8 million DPS, and then I used my 6-link, my shafts basically with a +3 it was, for my Blight setup. And Blight alone did like over 20 mil DPS, and then plus the Essence Drain. So I was like on, I think like was like 30 mil DPS Chaos Dot, and with that build I could even do 100% Delirious maps, which usually only the top end builds can actually pull off. And I made like 3.5 levels just by grinding today. I think I had like 1 or 2 stupid deaths with degens in like some overpacked maps, but overall, gorgeous build. That's all I can say. Good. Let's take a look at the gearing part. As I said, I think it's too tanky. I think you could definitely pack in some more like offensive layers if you're struggling with that. But tankiness is definitely sick. So the one should be like +1 chaos, +1 spells, cast speed, spell damage, dot multi, all the good things. I bought this one for like 100 chaos, which was a good deal. Have your Contagion with Ink AoE and the Flame Dash for my movement. Then the Viridius Veil, as I said before, monster damage is unlucky, hex proof, and crit immune if you wear 2 magic rings. You could also do like, if you don't worry about the crits or if you don't worry about the hexes, basically just wear 1 magic ring, so you get either off based if it's right ring or left ring, and then basically have the damage is unlucky with it, right? Having here purity of elements, discipline, determination, and purity of ice. If I would have more currency, I would definitely like to get some enlightens into the gear as well. Then the Aegis Aurora, one of the best shields, 5 max cold res, as well as the replenish ES on block. And if you're wondering how the hell do I get 90% max res, it's because of melding the Flash, which is a jewel that got released, I think like last league or 2 leagues ago, which says your elemental resistance are capped by your highest maximum. So I do have 75 cold res, plus the 5 of the Aegis makes it 80 cold res, plus a purity of ice with like 5 max cold res, plus like 2 or 3 max because of aura effect, so I'm like on 88 or something. And the cheapest solution that I came up with was taking the new jewel with unwavering stance and just anoint or scale the prismatic skin. I'm currently having auto surges up with a jewel node or a cluster jewel node on a megalomaniac that is 2 max cold res, and that would basically fix it for me. If you're struggling, or if you say I have 37%, like 87%, here is still another max cold res. You don't have to worry about your max fire or your max lightning res. All you care is about your max cold, and thanks to the melding the flash, you're gonna get the same amount of like maximum fire and lightning as well, right? That's why we have purity of ice for the maximum cold resist. Then the Press of Cholula is like the starter amulet, I would say. It gives you quite a bunch of energy shield early on in combination with the shafts. Obviously, end game you want to have +1 chaos, +1 all spells, chaos.multi, all the good things to ramp up your damage. Shafts, I don't think there's any way to get around the shafts because chaos damage taken does not bypass your energy shield. There are ways to do it with this coruscating elixir kind of thingy, but to be honest, if it's not 100% uptime, I don't want to deal with it, you know? I just don't want to, like, die just because my flask ran out of charges or something like that, right? Maybe it works, like, with a Mage Blood combination, but I don't want to deal with that. Having here, Essence Drain, Void Manipulation, Efficacy, Swift Affliction, Empower, and Control Destruction. My Empower is level 3. I do not have any Awakened Gems right now, so that would also be another nice damage boost if I would get those. Then my blue rings, I just picked up Iolite rings. I alt spammed them for energy shield, and I just crafted 1 minimum frenzy charge for like some more attack, cast speed, movement speed, right? And more damage basically. That counts for our dots as well for the Viridius Veil to get this like layer of defense. Gloves, belt and boots, life, resistance, and mainly stats. So I spammed some essences of Sorrow, I think it was, the Dex one. And then I got actually T2 strength here as well with the attribute catalyst to fix my strength and dexterity, because you need a shit ton of strength for a determination as well as dexterity. I think for purity of ice needs quite a bit, and other things like support gems and stuff, right? Good, then here we have Blight, Control Destruction, Infused Channeling, and Void Manipulation for our single target booster basically. Here we have Bane, Despair, Punishment, and Tempt Chain. So one is our Essence Drain, is our damaging ability, Contagion to spread it, Bane to debuff the bosses, and Blight to help with single target. So in a mapping scenario, you only need Essence Drain, Contagion as a 2-button build, and 4 super beefy monster or Sentinel powered ones you can add up. And like I do, just Essence Drain, Contagion, everything is inflicted, and then I just ran around and just spam a couple of Banes on like the rare packs to let them die faster. For flasks, a granite flask with increased armor, then we have a silver flask for some more speed for onslaught, a facing flask with regen craft, a sulfur flask with reduced mana cost, which is also helpful because Essence Drain is quite expensive with 97 mana per cast. And then I have a quicksilver flask with increased cast speed. Cast speed does actually help with just like casting faster. It's still 2 casts, and if you have no cast speed, it's like very, very slow if you want to do your combo. The more cast speed you have, the faster you're going to get this one off, and the more of a 1-button build it will feel like. Good. Shield, we have Defiance Banner, Arrogance, and Malevolence. These are the 3 auras that are reserved on my life. Good. Path of Building link is in the description below if you want to check this one out with like the gearing options, the way I set it up with the items and stuff. Let's take a look at the skill tree. The way I did it, I was just like trying to get as much mana reservation as possible. So I'm having the Sovereignty cluster, I have the Leadership as well as the Influence cluster with mana reservation efficiency on mana, on life, as well as more effect of my auras. Then I scaled in some AoE. I'm currently trying to build my 2 large cluster jewels. I I saved a lot of points going Thread of Hope with the Large Ring to get my Glancing Blows as well as Divine Flesh. In my old PoB, I actually scaled down here and would take this this large cluster here, but because these elemental damage nodes doesn't benefit us, but for the sake of saving points, and this one saved me I think like 10 skill points, it was the better way to do so. And here I have another Mage Hunter Conjured Wall, large cluster jewel to fix my block thing, right? And this is also the one, when you cast a spell recently, 6 block, and thanks to Glancing Blows, we're getting 12 spell block. And this is as soon as I cast a spell, I'm actually spell block capped as well. This is a bad solution here with a small cluster jewel, because the problem is if I don't have this mortifying aspect with a 50% malevolence mana reservation efficiency, I do not have enough mana to actually cast my Bane, so I would be like 90 mana or something, right? And I also had to skill the Insightfulness for the reduced mana cost of skills while on full energy shield, because, as I said, Essence Drain is a very expensive spell and you need some mana left over. Good, and for the other cluster, typical Chaos cluster, Touch of Cruelty, Wicked Paw, Unholy Grace. Touch of Cruelty is super good with the enemies hindered, what we get with our Spreading Rod Light Jewel. The next investment, I just took like any freaking jewels that I had laying around. Here would be the space for 2 medium cluster jewels, with that being Wild Reingovination, something like that, the damage over time energy shield 1, plus Brush of Death with the dot multi. I would take 2 of them, and then 2 really good jewels, with that being like energy shield, chaos dot multi, chaos damage, spell damage, like all the good things that you can fit into those jewels, as well as a Watcher's Eye that I don't have, with like maybe you can get like a Clarity ES mana, then you have to fit in a level 1 Clarity on top. Then Chaos Dot Multi, for example, Bleed Immunity with Malevolence. If you have like really crazy gear with like Enlightens, 2 or 3 Enlightened setups with more mana reservation, maybe the Fixed Star Amulet, something like that, then you could technically fit in a Cell Tree as well at some point. You have to figure it out for yourself if you want to continue this kind of route or this kind of build. Good. Anything else? I think this is super wasted. In the best case scenario, this is like one of the new jewels here, right? The not the Melting of Flesh, it was the... Damn, where was it? There's not many jewel slots left. Here? No. Here? No. Melting the Flesh? Oh, this one here. I just took these 4 points just to get this one going, right? The Impossible Escape with Unwavering Stances basically works the same way as an Intuitive Leap, so I can just skill anything that is in the radius, but not the keystone, right? As you see, it's like not included. I think the best one, and I think the most expensive one, would be Chaos Inoculation, so we could skill Whispers of Doom, we could skill Influence and Reservation Efficiency, we could skill the Arcane Sanctuary on top of that, but there's like 15 to 20 exalts right now, so this was like the easy solution to get my 90 max res, but I don't think it's actually needed. I bought it, I tested it, I was like, actually for one single point it's kind of waste. I could also like kind of anoint the thing, but yeah, this is something you can test alongside. Good. Anything else that I want to talk about? Cosmetics, we have the Scientist Helmet, the Annihilator Weapon, the new Diamond Splintering Shield, the Topaz Scintillating Body Armor, the Vulcan Thunderstrike Gloves without having Thunder skills, the Vulcan Stormrider Boots without having Stormrider Boots, I think, Belt of the Hive Queen if it does anything, then the Golden Character Effect, and most importantly, the Gold Treasure Hunter Weapon. This is the gold coin effect that you see when monsters are dying. All the auras have been deactivated, and all the like Essence Drain, Contagion, Blight is all the Scientist effect, the Scientist bundle basically for Essence Drain. When it comes to Pantheons, I have never bothered with those, to be honest. I think take whatever you feel like. Bandits, I killed all of them. And now let me think about if I need to talk something else. We talked about the mechanics, the gear, the upgrade possibilities, like a +3 shafts. Gloves of the High Templar would be insane with like a +5, +3, +7 to swap our Essence Drain into our gloves to still maintain a good amount of damage. A better amulet. You could actually fit in like either Mage Blood or what do you say, Headhunter maybe, you know, because we will not benefit too much from it, but we're also not gonna have any big downside. So if we get some nice buffs. I haven't tested Headhunter. I think they wanted to buff it today or tomorrow. Something you can maybe consider. Good. We talked about the skill tree. We talked about all of that things. If you have any more questions about the build, then please let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible, or more likely the community will answer them for you. If you're in the need of like even more insane builds, I did actually play an Essence Drain character last league, I think, or it was 2 leagues ago actually. Let me quickly go to my channel here and let me scroll down. Here, the Project Blight EDC Quality of Life Slinger or whatever. This is a Chaos Slinger that I played last league. This was with Mage Blood. This was like with insane damage with the +7 gloves of the High Templar. If you want to see how a build with like ridiculous investment, I think that was like 2 or 3 mirrors, Essence Drain character with Mage Blood basically, right? So there is also the gear, and I talk about the build, how this one works together. If you say like, yo, I have like 5 mirrors on my stash, I'm bored, Essence Drain looks cool, I want to try this one out. Good. Up to the next build. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.